Welcome to the unboxing and setup of the Critical Systems IPS-200 Orbital Welding System. Let's get started. After unpacking your delivery from CSI, please make sure that you have the items listed. CSI IPS-200 Power Supply, CSI Cooling Unit, CSI IPS-200 Adapter Cable, CSI Power Cord Adapter, AMI Weld Head Adapter. If you're renting an entire CSI welding setup, you will have the following optional items. AMI weld head, CSI pre-cut tungsten for that weld head, CSI weld head collets for that weld head, CSI IPS-200 remote pendant with cable. Prior to stacking the power supply on top of the cooling unit, fill the tank with coolant. The coolant tank can either be removed from the unit for filling and draining, or the coolant tank can be filled while installed in the cooler. It will need to be removed for draining. To remove the tank, open the latches on top of the cooler. There are two compression fitting connectors, one male and one female. Disconnect them, rotate the carrying handle, and remove the tank from the cooling unit. Whether you remove the tank or leave it mounted, fill the tank to the bottom of the fill spout with 50/50 RV coolant water mix. If you have removed the tank for filling, simply return the tank to its position in the chilling unit and reattach the compression fittings. Lower the carry handle to the rear of the tank, close the cover, and re-engage the latches. The IPS-200 power supply stacks on top of the cooling unit with indents at the four corners of the chiller for the feet on the bottom of the power supply. Connect it to the chiller by latching the two front latches and the latch in the rear. To connect the sensor system to the IPS-200, plug in the connecting cable. The standard power configuration for the CSI IPS-200 is 220 volt. However, the unit ships with a CSI power adapter cable that allows the system to plug into standard 110 volt outlets. Simply attach the male 220 volt plug to the female 220 volt plug on the power cable adapter. The unit can now be run on standard 110 volt. The IPS-200 system power switch is the large red switch located on the back of the unit. Switch this to the up position indicated by the arrow. The power supply is on and ready to be connected to your weld head. The unit auto senses what voltage it is connected to. There are two purge ports on the rear of the IPS-200 and two flow controls on the front. The pictogram of the torch is your head purge inlet and flow control. The other inlet and control is for line purge. Manipulating the flow control on the front panel changes your purge flow on the display. Prior to connecting your AMI weld head to the IPS-200, connect the CSI IPS-200 weld head adapter cable. There are two adapters. Ensure that you are connecting the adapter with the Miller cam locks. Begin by attaching the male and female cam locks to the corresponding deck plugs on the front of the CSI IPS-200. Next, attach the 32-pin motor plug connector. Observe the keys on the male connector and the corresponding notches on the CSI IPS-200 connector. Once you have aligned the keys and notches, turn the lock ring to lock the motor plug in place. Finally, attach the purge connector to the purge inlet under the head flow control knob. Your system includes either an AMI 1-foot cheater cable or 15-foot adapter cable. Connect the male water connectors to the IPS cooling unit. Connect both sets of cam lock connectors. Give the connector a quarter turn to lock. Connect the male motor plug to the female motor plug. Connect the male and female purge connectors. Connect both sets of brass connectors, ensuring the boots are seated to cover the connection. Seating the boots will keep the connectors from touching and avoid arc strikes. Thanks for watching the unboxing and setup video. Join me in part 2 where we make a weld.